finally lost my first one. It was crushing. Okay, I've got my coffee. I'm in my pajamas. I've got new daffodils. I think I'm ready. Hi, and welcome back, or welcome if this is your first time here. I am Tara, and today I have a vlog where Wordle chose my reading. Now, I first saw this, Kayla of Books and Lala, and it was so much fun. And then as I was waiting for Wordle to give me a useful word, yes, I kind of gamed the system because I waited until I could find a good word. While I was waiting, Rinsey of Rinsey Reads came out with a vlog where she read a book in a day, and Wordle chose for her that day, which was great. I had actually been thinking about, before I saw Kayla's video, I was thinking about letting my book titles like impact my Wordle strategy, but that just doesn't make sense. But like right there's the maid. Oh, maid is only 4 letters. This is always what I do when I play Wordle. If you're not familiar with it, Wordle is a word game where you have, I think, 6 guesses to figure out the 5-letter word. And it tells you if you have a letter in the right spot, if you have the right letter but a wrong spot, if that letter's not in the word at all. And then you have to think of a word where it's rearranged. Your guesses have to be actual words. I will, in the vlog, I'll actually show you how it turned out and the books I chose to read. So in this vlog, I play Wordle, which is pretty quick, read 2 books. While I wait for the books to come in at the library and wait to finish reading them, I get a haircut and I go to the library. I take you with me to my library. I love my library so much. And I share my library haul with you. So I hope you enjoy it. I hope you are having a fabulous beginning of spring, and let's get into it. Good morning. I am sitting here with my coffee, and I just did Wordle, and I'm going to let it pick my books. I've been looking for a Wordle solution that would pick my reading. So I finally got one. It's Other. I'm so excited. I went to Goodreads and I pulled up my shelf, which includes everything I've read and everything I want to read. Like, I have over 1,000 books on my to be read shelf. They're not all books I'm going to read like this minute. They're not all books I own, obviously. They're just books that I'm interested in. Whenever I hear about them, I add them. I try to make a note, but usually I forget. And I searched for the word other, and what came up was a lot of books that say mother or brother or another. But when I finally got to some books that said other, I found is Your Black Friend and Other Strangers by Ben Passmore. And I believe it's either a graphic novel or a graphic memoir. I've had it on my list for a really long time. And then I kept scrolling and I found You Can't Touch My Hair and Other Stories by Phoebe Robinson. I went on my library's website, because I was doing all this with my cup of coffee, to see what books are available to me. I looked for Your Black Friend, and that book is checked out, but it's due to be returned soon. So I put a request in for that. So I should get that soon. I love it when people write memoirs or essays and then they read it themselves. So I was so excited to find that my library does have You Can't Touch My Hair on audiobook, read by the author herself. And so I downloaded that. So my plan is to listen to that. I got a lot of dishes to wash. I'm gonna make dinner tonight. So I will check back in with you. I have no idea how long this reading vlog is gonna take. Hey, so I just got my hair cut and I'm actually in the park across from the library. I just thought I would stop and update you because it's such a beautiful, beautiful sunny day. And because I just got Your Black Friend from the library. This is Your Black Friend and Other Strangers. So that's where the word other comes in. It's by Ben Passmore, and it is a comic book of his, they're kind of like essays. They're like essays in graphic form. So there's a lot of words of what the art looks like. Most of it is in panels, but these are the end papers. The art has like a really beautiful color palette of like really bright pinks, purples. Okay, so I went to the park next to the library and I read Your Black Friend by Ben Passmore, and it is way too windy to record outside, so I'm in my car. The art is absolutely beautiful. Really like, I haven't read another graphic novel or graphic memoir. I'm not really even sure what we call this. I'm gonna have to look it up because I haven't read another one like this. Yeah, some are fictional stories and some are more nonfiction political essays. This gives you an idea of his art when he's being more fictional. My very favorite is the first essay, Your Black Friend. The whole thing is narrated saying, your black friend wishes you do this. Your black friend thinks this. It's like all the things that your black friend secretly thinks and doesn't tell you as a white person. And it's just really great. He's got a crazy sense of humor. Some of it I don't understand. Ben Passmore describes himself as an aging punk, and there's a lot that are related to like the punk ethic and ethos, and some are weird, some are really powerful. It's a really interesting collection, and I'm super glad to be familiar with his work. I really love the work of Linda Barry, and that's who, the only other artist whose style I'm really familiar with that's kind of in the same style. And so that's Your Black Friend and Other Strangers by Ben Passmore. I'm so glad for the Wordle challenge for inspiring me to pick it up. It's been on my list forever. So I'm also currently listening to the audiobook of You Can't Touch My Hair and Other Things I Still Have to Tell People by Phoebe Robinson. And I'm going to continue to listen to that today. Like I said, I just got my hair cut and I actually have some time alone. So I'm going to go into the library. And then today I thought, why not actually show you what I got at the library? I was looking at like a trillion books. So I'm sitting here in front of my fireplace, which doesn't work, so it's not really a fireplace. And there's a shelf. This is my like to be read shelf. And then in front of it, I put my library books. These are all the books I want to read next in these 3 shelves. And then when I get a book at the library, I pop it in there so that they kind of all stay together. But I got so many books yesterday that they're not going to fit there because they're big gardening books, most of them. So let's start with the nonfiction I got, and then we will look at the gardening books, which I guess are also nonfiction. Cultish, The Language of Fanaticism by Amanda Montel. So this book is all about the language that cults use and organizations that are trying to persuade people to do stuff. It's really about persuasive language in our culture. They talk about all kinds of cult-like organizations. So I've been super interested in this, and then Jess Owens made this the community read. I think I might be saying that wrong. Community read choice, and that live show is actually going to happen in just a couple of days. So I need to get started on Cultish. Even if I don't finish it by the time the live show happens, I'll finish reading it and then I'll watch the live show later. I love a book about language. Then we have I'm Telling the Truth, But I'm Lying, I think is how you say it. It says I'm telling the truth this way, but I'm lying this way. So in this book, she talks a lot about her own mental health. She's a Nigerian American who grew up with just a lot of emotions, and she experienced depression, and she became a spoken word poet. So I'm sure the writing is going to be gorgeous. And she talks about wanting to tell the truth, even to herself, because she's been lying to herself about some things. So I am super excited to read this book. The next book I found, this was in the gardening flower section in my library, is Flower Confidential: The Good, the Bad, and the Beautiful in the Business of Flowers by Amy Stewart. I have learned a lot in the last year about the local flower movement, and I will include a link below to the Slow Flowers website podcast. It has so much good information about how important it is to buy local flowers, because international flowers that are shipped across the country, they're just so bad for the environment in so many ways, both because of pesticides that are used, because of the way the plants are treated, because of what it does to the local ecology, and then all of the energy that's used to getting the flowers from wherever they're grown to us. There's a lot of science that goes into doing that. And so she talks to scientists, she talks to flower farmers, she talks to people across the country and all over the world in other countries. And so when I saw this, I was like, ooh, I'm interested in that. So that's Flower Confidential. I hope I get a chance. I'll probably read this after Cultish and the Book of Essays. Hopefully I'll get a chance to read it before it's due. This was in the new book section at my library, and I just couldn't even not. It's part of the theme, the flower theme. Liberty Fabrics, if you're not familiar, has been around for 145 years, probably more at this point. And this goes into the history. Oh, do you love that? I'm pretty sure that's a map of London. And the fabrics, how the fabrics are made and sold. And then there are some patterns for quilts. I'm not going to be making any of the quilts, but I will be enjoying looking at the fabrics themselves and reading all about it. So pretty. Native Kitchen by two native chefs, and it looks so good. So my husband and I are vegetarian, and there are so many good vegetable recipes in this book. I'm pretty sure there are meat recipes too. I haven't even had really a chance to look at it. There's one. But the design is beautiful. The cover is beautiful. The insides are beautiful. This is another book that will sit on our coffee table until we do our meal planning Monday night. And then my husband usually goes to the store on Tuesday to get everything. We like to get new cookbooks and flip through them and get inspiration. We really only try about one new recipe a week, because you got to give the kids some familiar favorites so that they don't freak out too much. Ooh, sauteed acorn squash with maple syrup. We're also growing a lot of vegetables that are a native food, like beans, corns, tomato, a lot of squash, and I just wanted to try. Ooh, this book is just beautiful. Sometimes I don't even make the recipes from a cookbook. I just get ideas, because it can be such a drag to have to make dinner every single night, and on the weekends, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And we like to still do some adventurous cooking. Having small children has not changed, that we still like to try things that are new for us and new for them. And sometimes we find favorites that they absolutely love, and we have to keep making. I get a cookbook almost every time I go to the library just to flip through. All right, are you ready for the gardening books? The first one, and I've wanted to read this one for a while, it's been on my list, is Vegetables Love Flowers. It's by Lisa Mason-Ziegler, and she has a whole website, Gardener's Workshop, where she teaches flower farmers how to be flower farmers and gardeners how to raise a cut flower garden. I haven't taken any of her classes. I've just looked at her website for a long time. This book is about companion planting for beauty and bounty. The ways you can use companion planting for pest control and in order to increase the pollinators, so you're increasing your production of your vegetables. And I love flowers, and this is my first year gardening vegetables, and I'm super looking forward to this one. I got a couple pages in the other morning with my coffee before I was interrupted. And I also got Gardening with Native Plants of the South. So we're trying to plant non-invasive native plants as much as possible in order to encourage the birds and the pollinators and just insect life, and kind of improve our local ecology with our backyard garden. So I got this book. It's got pictures and descriptions. It's also got ideas for how to lay out your garden. And then the next few books are specifically for our kiddos. So this one is specifically for gardening with kids in a way that attracts bees and butterflies. There's a couple chapters about looking for birds and involving your kids in planting the garden, and it's really cute. And then there are 2 books which are kind of like kind of about gardening for kids as well, and they're about gardening for the birds. This one is called Gardening for the Birds, and this one is called Natural Gardening for Birds. This one I really loved the illustration style throughout, and it's about feeding birds and how you can grow things for birds, and it's just really pretty. This one has pictures. This is Gardening for the Birds. This one has pictures to help you identify the birds. My daughters love to look out our front windows. We have a dogwood tree out front, and they love to watch. Right now it's mostly robins and blue jays that are jumping around eating, and so I thought this would be fun to help us identify some birds. Also, various plants that different birds love. I hope to get some tips for that about what to plant. Maybe not this year, but as we think about planting trees and bushes and do more landscaping, this will help give us some direction on making sure we have lots and lots of birds to look at. Last 2 books I really got for my husband, because the one thing he cares about in the garden are hot chili peppers and tomatoes, because we are going to make some salsa, some hot sauce, some stuff. This book, A, it's huge, B, it's beautiful. I love the way it's designed, and it has tips for growing, watering, having it in a raised bed, seed starting, and just everything you would need to know how to save seeds from tomatoes, which we'll definitely be doing this year. Then it's got questions and answers in the back, problem solving, and then at the very end it has regional tips for growing tomatoes. I like to get these reference books at the library and read them, flip through them, get inspired by them, even if I don't read every page, to figure out if it's a reference book we actually need to own and that we're going to go back to again and again. So as I'm flipping through it at the library or the bookstore, I might be like, oh, it talks about seed saving, it talks about planting. But then when you really read it, you realize, not this book, but any book, it's not helpful or well written, or it's kind of confusing. And so many times I have bought a book that I thought would be a reference book, and then I didn't care for the writing or the layout, or it just didn't have the information we really needed. So I love to get them at the library first. It's also what we do with cookbooks. We get them at the library first. We see how many recipes out of this would we actually make, and then we go on and buy them, and it helps us make better decisions about buying books, because books are an investment. And so the last reference book that we had to check out is the Complete Chili Pepper book. Now, there were like 3 books on chili peppers. This is the one at the library that seems like it was going to be the best for us, because there are recipes. I think it's Bloody Mary mix. There are recipes in it that talks about starting seeds. The whole first section shows you the different peppers that there are and helps you identify them and tells you what they're good at. Then there are growing and harvesting tips about when to harvest. And then the really important part for us is what to do with it once you harvest it. So there are recipes, there's stuff about canning, drying, smoking, all different stuff that I think will come in handy as we grow more and more chili peppers. Now, I actually just got in my last seed order that I'm going to start starting seeds from, and I considered sharing that here in this vlog, but I think I'm going to make that a separate video. So leave a comment below if you are interested in seeing the seeds we bought as first-time gardeners, what seeds we're going to be starting. And if you'd like to see some vlogs that include seed starting, which I just did this week with my daughter for the first time, let me know if you'd like to see what we're planting and how we're planting, or how I like these books. I definitely have some favorite gardening books that have been really, really helpful. Let me know if that interests you at all, or if you're like, just talk about novels. I don't care. Let me know in the comments below. I am in my kitchen. It is Sunday morning, and I have done a lot of cleaning and a lot of dishes standing right here. This is my kitchen sink. And it has been the perfect opportunity to listen to Phoebe Robinson's book. She is so funny. I love a memoir or a book of essays or a humor book narrated by the author. I think it's so great to hear the stories in their own voice, and she has a really funny way of telling stories, and she added all these side things that I don't know if they're in the book or not. I kind of want to go get the physical book to compare it to the audiobook, because she just said things like in her voice in a funny way, and she's great. I mean, she's a podcaster, she's a comedian, she's a writer, like in comedy. So of course it was just fun and funny. It actually reminded me a lot of Ali Wong's book called Dear Girls, which is told, they're essays, but they're like as letters to her daughters. and they are so funny and raunchy and just like about everything. So it's about being Black in America. It's about being a woman, Black hair, and Black hair through the decades, but it is also about like her guilty pleasures and pop culture and why we shouldn't call guilty pleasures guilty pleasures. It's about everything she loves and likes and wants to talk about. It's just fun is all I can come back to it. Actually, if you are doing a lot of cleaning or dishwashing, I usually listen to podcasts or an audiobook. I can't really listen to fiction because my kids interrupt me and talk too much, and so I lose the plot. The Book of Essays is great for that because it's fine if you miss a minute or two. It's a great book. I'm super glad I had this challenge to finally like convince me to read the book. It's been on my list forever. Same thing goes for the comic by Ben Passmore, Your Black Friend. I've had that on my list forever since it was recommended to me a couple years ago, and I just wasn't getting to it until something prompted me to. So thanks, Wordle. I've actually been really concerned about Wordle. There was like a week where every word was something kind of violent, like choke or knife or something like that. But then today it was cloth. This isn't a spoiler because I'm not going to upload it till tomorrow. I was like, okay, whoever's at Wordle choosing the words is doing okay. I think I'm going to end the vlog here. Hope you enjoyed coming to the library with me and getting my haircut. I'm happy with my haircut. I hope you have a great day and happy reading.